You've got the look in your eyes. You're on a mission, burning ambition. You've got your eyes on the prize. You've got to rise to the challenge. Show 'em what you've got. Step up and take what's yours. You are kings now, Clash of Titans.
Hey everyone, Anthony with Tornado Tag Podcast. We're here tonight. We have a very, very cool special guest we'll get to in one moment. But before we get into that, if you guys are watching this on YouTube or you're listening on any podcast platform, hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up or a like or subscribe, whatever you got to do. All the links below, you can see everything we're talking about tonight. All of our guests' information's on there, the Facebook page. You can find Andy's podcast, Brian's podcast, and everything in between. I just lost my breath already.
Oh, my God.
I'm like getting over a cold.
No.
So I have like this weird...
I was just exercising real hardcore before you guys got here.
I was peeling an orange in the attic.
I was doing my DDPY.
Yeah, I have to start that up again. But we have Mike on the phone from Retrosoft Studios. What's going on, man?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Doing good.
We're very, very excited for this call-in. We've tried this once before, and we messed up. Yeah. We hit the wrong buttons or something happened, but
it's recording now, though.
Yeah, and when we say we mean
so
Tony messed up.
Yeah.
I wasn't even here.
Yeah, I wasn't here for that either. So
it was me. I messed up. But we had a great conversation, but unfortunately you guys heard none of it.
So let's start over.
Yeah,
Mike, tell us all about RetroMania Wrestling.
All right. So it's a RetroMania Wrestling. It's a new 2D wrestling game coming out for the Switch, Xbox One, PS4, and PC. We're super excited about it. It's the official now sequel to WrestleFest, the arcade game back from 1991.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Which has changed since we last talked. So we've acquired the rights to call ourselves that, and then part of that deal was we will eventually be utilizing the Matt Mania IP as well from that wrestling game.
Excellent.
So unfortunately we couldn't get obviously the rights to the characters from WrestleFest since it was a temporary license agreement, but we are the kind of next in line from that great series of Technos wrestling games that included Matt Mania, Superstars, and WrestleFest.
Nice.
So we're kind of carrying on the lineage there as best we can to give it justice.
That's awesome.
Now when we first talked, I mean this was super green. It wasn't even really.
I think maybe 4 people were announced: Hawk Animal, Boston Idol, and one other person.
Yeah, and Zack Sabre Jr.
Okay,
He was the announcement.
Yeah.
Right.
Since then, we've added Johnny Retro, which is now Morrison, who is now back in WWE, which I'm super happy about.
NWA World Champion Nick Aldis. I'm going retro.
Yes.
Sidebar: how much did you love that commercial that was on NWA?
It was awesome. It was awesome. And I'll tell you, so the thing is, Dave Lagana from NWA had the idea we should do a commercial after he saw. So after they had the first taping of NWA Power, the first one they showed on YouTube. So I sent it to my lead artist who does all the rings and everything. And I said, you got to make this in our game. So a week later, he made the whole set. And I sent it to Lagana.
Looks amazing.
Yeah, and I sent it to Lagana, and he's like, can we do a commercial with this? Because, they were doing all those
wacky commercials.
Waffles and tire irons. And he's like, and so I'm like, He's like, what do you need from me? He's like, nothing. He's like, I need art assets that you have done already. And then everything, I know Dave was involved in it, but I don't know how much was Dave, how much was Nick. But the first time I saw it that like 2 days before they aired it. The rough cut of it, and I was like, this is awesome. And then just seeing it live when I was watching the show was very cool.
Yeah,
it's got to be.
Especially because it's your game and creative.
Every time I see something
it was amazing.
And then NBA World Champion. It's not just like it's some job guide.
Right.
And now the NWA title will be in the game.
Yep. Yeah, there's a separate mode that it's your kind of typical fight through everybody Street Fighter type mode, but that's going to be our 10 pounds of gold mode. But the one little thing unique about it at least so far that we're working into it, is we want that mode to save locally whoever's the current champion. So just a little nice little feature. So whenever you go in and play it, the last boss character will change based on who's currently holding your title belt.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And that's such a big get, having Nick Aldis in your game. I mean, he's like one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And then you had Austin Idol, and then he gets some wacky commercials in NWA Power.
Yep.
So it's like, wow.
Yeah. Now is obviously NWA is a fan of this. Is there a possibility for down the road maybe some NWA Superstars DLC?
Yeah, and maybe even before that.
Oh, hey.
That would be
awesome. You have 2 question marks right now.
There's only one question mark.
Yeah, but not the question mark. Not
we
karate.
need the question mark.
Yeah, but you have 2 question marks. You don't have to tell us who they are, obviously, but they're not part of the indie guy thing, right?
No, so I can tell you this. So we're going to have at least probably 15 characters now launched. My initial tagline was 12 to 16, and I think we'll probably be at 15. One of them, so I think we've announced 11 so far, if I have my numbers right. We've announced 11, because we announced all 3 of the Blue World Order, in addition to the first 4 guys you mentioned. That's 7. Cole Cabana, we added. That was awesome. 8. I don't want to give anything away.
I'll bring your Facebook page here and then look at the. I'm trying to remember who was announced. Tommy Dreamer.
Yep.
Yeah. Austin Idol, like we said.
Yeah.
Zack Sabre. We are
John Morrison.
John Morrison.
I'm trying to rack my brain.
The winner of Indie Mania.
Yeah, the Indie winner of Indie Mania. But then, so we have at least 3 others that we haven't announced yet.
Okay,
sweet.
Is this the first video game Austin Idol's ever been in? Was he in those Legends of Wrestling games at all?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
I think this is the first time he's been in the video.
And he actually just on AEW.
Yeah, he was in that tribute to Memphis. Austin Idol is. I'm glad he's having a little bit of resurgence. He's one of those guys who got forgotten in history, mainly because he wasn't a big fan of flying. And now he's kind of had that resurgence thanks to the NWA mainly.
Yeah.
He was Aldis's manager for a while. It's been great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. NWA has been really fun, and now with the adding of Marty, and we're gonna get a little bit in some topics later, but NWA looks like they're gonna be playing ball with ROH.
Yeah, and they actually always have been. I mean, like just even about 3 or 4 months ago, Nick Aldis and James Storm were in Ring of Honor, and they were running angles with Cole Cabana and stuff. So. Now
they're involved in the Crockett Cup too.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
It's gonna be great. Now that Marty gets a little control in ROH, he's looking up.
Now, I know we talked about before. When this first came out, it was just singles matches and tag team matches, right? Has any other? I know we have cage matches now.
Yeah, so we're gonna have 2 types of cages in there. The big blue and then the traditional kind of chain link fence.
The big blue, I'm excited for.
You can say the NWA cage.
Yep, and then we'll have the Retro Rumble is a part of this, which is your typical kind of, I can't say Royal Rumble.
A lottery entry battle royal.
Yeah, timed release. And we're at a point now in development where things are really starting to come together. So I was playing a Tornado Tag.
Hey, that's us.
So yeah, exactly. That's why I brought that up. But we're pretty much, there aren't going to be many match types we can't add. Our only real question mark is whether we do 8-player, like a 4-on-4 match, or just limited to 3-on-3, just because 4-on-4 may be a little too chaotic.
Yeah,
or like a
fun.
Triple threat or fatal 4-way matches.
Yeah, more on the technical end. You don't want a slowdown to happen.
Yeah,
I don't think it's 2D, so I don't think we'd have a slowdown issue. But it's more of just it. Too many people running in. So, like, if you're in the ring and there's 8 people in the ring, because keep in mind our proportions are smaller. Like our characters are bigger than like Fire Pro is compared to the size of the ring. Now, so it keeps that WrestleFest proportions intact.
Yeah,
so
it might be too busy.
Right, exactly.
Now, when you're doing a tag or a fatal 4 or something, is there hit detection between players? So if someone's in a pin and someone gets suplexed on top of a pin, will that break it up?
So right now we have, and we've gone back and forth. Right now we have no friendly fire.
Okay.
So you can't hit your tag partner,
which
like
I'm
that.
okay
Which is
with.
good. Yeah, that's good.
just because we were playing and it was kind of annoying when you're a partner. So it may be. I think we're trying now to work it in where it's user definable, where you can turn it on or off.
That'd be fun. Just pure chaos.
Yeah. So if you want it there, some people like it, some people don't, which is pretty much every feature in every video game.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah,
I mean?
for sure.
So we're trying to get as many things as in that user defined menu as we can.
Another thing we talked about before was, and you said it's something like, obviously you were in early stages, but we're talking about a creator wrestler feature. Is that something that's in the works or even thought of?
Yeah, it's definitely thought of, but it's not going to be at launch. And I have my prepared answer for this because it's a pretty common question. But so if you think of it this way, if you have a creator wrestler and you want to make Stone Cold, let's say, you got to make sure that one of the moves you have in the game is a kick to the stomach, probably a middle finger before that, a kick to the stomach, and then the actual stunner, right? Yeah. So I got to make that animation. But now multiply that by everybody's finisher that's ever played a game, like Fire Pro's done.
Exactly.
Fire Pro has done that.
Yeah, but
and
they have that
working
backlog.
on that, right? And they just have reused the same animations more or less since 1989. I want to say the first Fire Pro game came out. So we unfortunately don't have that time or the bandwidth to do all those.
I couldn't
moves.
imagine.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we have all the moves of the wrestlers that we have in our game. And then build that out, and then hopefully we get to a point where Creator Wrestler makes a little more sense, and we've gotten a good, strong gameplay going. People like the game. We've proved that we're going to have an audience, and then we can start looking at really putting the resources into
honestly, that's the best way to go about it, because obviously you have. I'll just throw a video game out there that got a lot of flack. No Man's Sky.
Okay.
Very small developing team, and promised the world, and then couldn't develop.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they got buried for it. Where you're just like, hey, we're going to make a really polished game now,
right?
And if you support us, we're going to keep adding to it.
It's fun to play.
Exactly. Yeah, we want to make sure, like it's like when you're building a house, you better make sure the foundation is solid before you start adding stuff to it, right?
Exactly.
And that's kind of the same approach we're taking.
Cool.
Now, here's a cool thing too, and I mean, I'm a fan of it when developers do it. I don't know if this is something you're like. Obviously, this is still your first crack at it, like the first title here, but I've been liking when games like Rainbow Six or certain games are just like, we're not going to make part 2, part 3 every year or every 2 years. We're just going to build on what we already have and just keep adding to it. Is that something you guys are looking for? So if someone,
we're definitely not releasing a game. I mean, we've been working on this.
You're not going to do one every year.
Yeah, no. We've been
doesn't seem to work well.
We've been working on this one for 18 months solid, and I've worked on it longer than that.
Wow.
So that's when. Really, 18 months ago, I say, is when I started. That's when I hired the lead programmer, and then we've slowly ramped up. And then the last year, we've been, I have over 10 people working on the game.
Wow.
So
that's awesome. Well,
cool.
That's a good thing for consumers to hear. Obviously,
yeah. It's a passion project for me. I mean, I want this thing to be great, as great as it can be.
Well, like I said, you could be that person who jumps on this game now, and probably within a year or 2 year mark. Realistically, the roster can double, it can triple.
Absolutely.
They're not. This is not something where they're just going to make it stop and
it's
go.
15. That's it.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like how you guys did the indies thing. Like that's amazing. Like that could be something you do every year. Like, hey, we could throw a new indie guy in the game. Like that would be fun. Like there's a lot of cool things. And you guys are wrestling fans. You're video game fans. And you also support the indie wrestling scene,
makes
too.
it better.
And with the landscape of indie wrestling now, where guys keep getting hired and released, who knows who will be in the indies next year?
Yeah.
It could be somebody that just left WWE or just left anywhere,
Yeah, Luke Harper.
Yeah, we were going off of recent WWE release, and unfortunately he wasn't interested.
Oh, that sucks.
No.
But for every guy who isn't, there's probably 2 guys that are.
I was gonna say,
it's just.
There has to be, because so many guys that wrestle nowadays grew up playing the game.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
And it's just so funny.
Yeah, we have a long. It's funny. That's the next most common question. Well, probably the most common question is, can you add Phil in this guy's name? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's funny you can get the NWA World Champion that want to do it, but some guy for the leaves WWE is like, I'm good. It's like, all right.
And this, I think it's gonna be one of those things too, where people are. I truly feel this is gonna be this game that people are gonna play it because it's on every platform, and people are like, oh my god, this is cool. Like, because obviously WrestleFest was WrestleFest was fun, but when it comes to mechanics, it was just smash buttons.
Kick a punch.
Where this actually has a grapple system. There's a lot more to it.
I was going to ask you, how do the finishers work in the game?
So right now we're playing with a couple different ways. So right now the way it works is your finisher won't be like unlocked until a certain point in the match towards the end. Because one of the things I always liked about WrestleFest, not the button mashing for everything just to eat quarters, but the fact that when you hit your finisher, it was pretty much over.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Your finisher counts.
Mm-hmm. Right. So we'll assign your finisher to a button combination, if it's a grapple move or whatever type of finisher it is. And then once you get your opponent low enough, we'll either have an audible like crowd reaction or something that'll trigger you to say, all right, I can pull off my finisher now.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
And then you'll do it that way.
Yeah, rather than just right off the bat.
So not a lot of false finishes in this game.
No, there's still. So another mechanic that we put in the game is a kind of randomized false finish.
Oh.
So it happens, and it's cool because I've seen it play out. We're watching people play the game at the last event we were at. But if someone kicks out, it says second wind, we called it.
Okay.
So right now, I don't know how we're going to display it properly because right now we have big letters that come up that say second wind and the guy flashes. It's a little cheesy right now, so we may kind of come up with a better visual cue, but you can kick out of somebody's finisher, but it doesn't happen all the time. It's like every maybe 5 or 6 matches that it'll happen. So when it happens, you get a pop out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
That's
really
cool
like,
idea.
oh, he kicked out of it, And watching people react to that as it happened, I've never felt like so proud so far in this game. It's just like being able to get somebody to react to your game that way is such a great feeling.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you have you can put Gargano in, and he has like 14
yeah,
second
he just
wins.
kick out.
It makes me think of the Wii Punch Out when Little Mac would go down, but then you could do that if you hit that button combination the exact right time. You would take that one step forward.
Yeah. Now, trying to think. So you're doing the indie tournament right now. Two big names for us in there that we're super excited for. Obviously, is for me Simon Miller.
I had no idea who that guy was.
Not so much as a wrestler, but I like his content that he puts out for What Culture.
Right, on What Culture.
Yeah, he's very, very popular. And then
Matt Cross.
Matt Cross.
Matt Cross. I used to see him in ROH back in the day.
Yep. ROH, he was Havoc and
Son of Havoc.
Havoc. Super. So I'm super cool, super excited about that one. Now the way this works is it's 3 total votes. So it's fan vote, your vote, and then
Dave LaGreca, right?
Dave LaGreca from Busted Open.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, and it's funny. Everyone in the first round came out to whoever the fan vote won, and we got the Retrosoft votes. There's 5 people that have votes in Retrosoft, and that's the first thing we would get in the morning. And we have Dave gave us all his votes right away, so we kind of knew if it was. But every one of those was split.
Yeah,
which was surprising because Dave picked weird stuff. I thought he not weird. But, like, it was unpredictable what he would pick. And then so are some of the guys that were working. Because not everybody of those 5 is super in tune with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, like, I didn't know. I knew the guy who runs our social media is the one who put it all together.
Okay.
So he's more in tune with a lot of more independent than I am. And he has a friend who helped us do it just because who's, like, super in tune to everything.
Yeah.
So, I did a lot of YouTube, but it was cool. That's one of the reasons we did it was to get more exposure around it. And it was I had a good time going through and watching people's matches like on YouTube because it's, there's no, even if you wanted to, you can't keep up with everybody.
No, not at all.
It's insane.
And there's just so much talent out there. And it was cool to go through it. And then, Mike, the other Mike on our team, set up the brackets and everything, and basically made all the calls. Like he compiled how many nominations. I think we had over like close to 3,000 nominations for about 120 different wrestlers.
Yeah, we tried to get our boy Andy in, but we just missed out. But yeah, dude, I'm having a blast with it. I'm like I said, we're following it like crazy, and we're really hyped up for it. We're really, really excited.
Yeah, and I figure, I was worried we were going to run out of announcements of our roster because it's not super huge.
Yeah.
So we came up with this idea to try just something to tide us over really till the game comes out. And again, get the community involved. And I think it's cool to have a winner. I know that's never been done.
No.
Fans decide a roster spot in a wrestling game,
Yeah.
So.
No, it's a really good idea.
Yeah, and you're getting a lot of good people involved. Like, I mean, Busted Open, in my opinion, is the greatest wrestling show out.
Second greatest.
I mean, no, they're better. They're better than us.
Yeah.
I'm going to say right now they're better than us. I'm a huge fan of that channel, and they both and no matter who he has on guest, whether it's Henry, Bubba, or Tommy, it's an amazing show. I mean,
well, I'll tell you. So I had sent Dave. I couldn't find his contact info, so I sent it via LinkedIn, and he never responded to me. And this is about a little spoiler here, a little exclusive here for you guys, but he's gonna at some point be a part of the game.
Oh, perfect.
I'll just put it at that.
Okay.
So I had sent him a message and some artwork that some concept artwork that one of the artists did, and he never responded. And I don't like asking Tommy Dreamer for stuff. Like I didn't want to get him involved, even though I know he knew him. Just like you don't want to rely on people. And Tommy's been so great to us. I didn't really want to push that. So, but anyway, I was at the House of Hardcore show back in November, and I saw LaGreca in the lobby, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe he didn't see it. So I go up to him with my phone with his artwork pulled up, and I introduce myself, and I show him. He's like, oh, I'm definitely in. I just don't always. He's like, I don't look at my LinkedIn. He's like, that's awesome. You really want to put me in it? And he was so cool. So
I was just say, if he didn't message you, you could put him in a Tornado Tag podcast shirt. That'd be
yeah, there you go.
That's cool.
But he was definitely down. He's like, oh, I'm down for everything. And then when I asked him about the Indie Mania thing, he's like, yeah, I would love to do it. That's awesome. So I think I'm going to go. He invited me to be on their podcast when we're closer to launch.
Yeah,
which was pretty cool.
Yeah, their show is fantastic. I'm the type of person who says the only thing that's worth listening to on Sirius XM is Howard Stern. But I'm going to be honest. Busted Open is fantastic. If Howard Stern were to quit tomorrow, I would still keep my subsubscription for Busted Open. 100%.
The metal channels for me.
Yeah, the metal channels great. I love it.
Now another big guy that's been a big name that's been helping you is Stevie Richards. Now I'm a big fan of. I'm probably going to butcher this. It's RTX. He has he pretty much covers all Switch games. He's on YouTube. Fantastic. Does a great job. Also a big wrestling fan, and him and Stevie Richards are friends.
Okay.
And they did
RGT85.
RGT85. Yep. And he did a whole thing on this game too. I was like, oh, this is really cool because I follow that page. I really like his content. But Stevie actually just went out and made his own cabinet, and you told us you had some stuff about that as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture right now. It's sweet.
So Stevie had the idea he wanted to mod an arcade 1-up. So if you're familiar with those arcade machines, they're the ones they're selling at like Walmart and Sam's Club and Target. So they're like 3/4 scale arcade machines of like classic arcades. And there's been a Facebook page that's popped up of people modding these things and putting their own games in and modding the artwork. So Stevie approached me with the idea of doing that. So we talked about it. And there were a couple of technical reasons it wouldn't work to put RetroMania in there. But then both of us started researching us, and Stevie found another place that did similar style arcade machines, but that would fit like a widescreen monitor, and we could put a PC in and whatnot. So we contacted them, and they sponsored Stevie to build a kit, and then me and Stevie worked together to do the artwork for it. And he just finished doing it, and check out his channel because he just reviewed the initial thoughts.
Oh, cool! Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
Of it, and then to give you guys another little exclusive, I think tomorrow he and I are going to put RetroMania on it for the first time, and we're going to actually go through some of the story mode of the game, which heavily features Stevie in the beginning, actually throughout, but Stevie has a big role. And this is before I've gotten to know Stevie a little bit. I've talked to him on the phone a bunch of times now. We exchanged texts. Really cool guy. We grew up in the same area. I grew up outside of Philly as well.
Okay.
And so, but even before I knew him, we were already planning on kind of doing this storyline because he was into fitness. So the guy who actually wrote the story was including that, and it's just been great that he's been a big part of this from the beginning.
Yeah, I'm pumped. He's such I'm a huge BWO fan. I love it.
You get to do Stevie kick. Now I'm looking at the arcade machine. His has 6 buttons. So I was going to ask you, what are the buttons for the game? Obviously, there's like punch or grapple. Like, what are your buttons going to be?
Yeah, so there's actually not a grapple button. We stuck to the kind of the pro wrestling, which is the first game that I think had it, where it's auto grapple. Yeah. But WrestleFest
Fire Pro has the
Fire Pro has it, right? So I didn't want to dedicate the grapple like N64. I think that works better in 3D games
Yes.
than in 2D games. Because we did play with having a grapple button, and I just felt it didn't play as well. So it's similar to Fire Pro, where you have weak, medium, strong, then a run button, tag button, and a taunt button.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool.
So we are using 6 buttons. We were going to try to squeeze it into 2, but it is 2020.
Yeah, that's a little bit too much. I say at least you got to have 4. You know?
Yeah.
Right. So we initially had 4, and then we expanded it to give ourselves a couple more options. I wanted to add a tag button because we have some functionality within the tag button.
Oh, sweet.
How now, obviously, each system is out there for it. Is there a system that obviously PlayStation and Xbox are pretty similar, controller styles, the whole 9.
Right.
How is it playing on the Switch?
It's the same because you just have to use the trigger buttons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it plays fine on the Switch. I mean, I prefer it with a D-pad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Versus the analog.
Now, can you use? Now, I know the Nintendo uses the pad underneath.
Yeah.
That sometimes people use that as a D-pad.
Yeah, I mean it supports it.
Cool. Yeah, so you could use the analog or the D-pad that the buttons on the bottom.
Yeah, so I mean it supports analog on the PlayStation and Xbox too. We have to play with the sensitivity because one thing, when you get back into the ring, it's a double tap towards the ring to get back in the ring. And for some reason with the analog, it's always a little harder to do until you get used to it. Yeah. But I'm probably a bad case study because I always love the D-pad opposed to an analog stick.
For 2D games.
That's just showing my age.
Yeah. I hear you there. There's a lot of when I go through menus, I love to use D-pad. For 2D games, I use D-pad.
I was kind of intimidated when the Nintendo 64, but I can't use that thing.
Yeah, what do I do with that?
Right.
Awesome. So we have obviously the winner of the indie contest is going to be a roster
spot, and then 2 more people,
and then 2 more mystery spots. We'll take up to 15.
Actually, 3 more.
Whoa.
3 more.
So you're at 16.
4 total.
Oh wow!
No,
awesome.
That's I think we announced 11.
Okay,
so,
look, I have the thing right here. Let me just. So I don't want you to spoil or to say something that's not announced.
I know, because I have the names that we haven't announced in my head. Right
now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So at launch, what are we looking at?
Yeah.
So 15 total plus we're gonna have 2 of our enhancement talent that we use to test with. They'll probably be unlockable.
Nice.
Now,
another fun thing.
How about arenas before you get into it?
Oh yeah, how many different arenas are we looking at
that you've announced?
Yeah, we haven't announced all of them, but we're going to have over 10 definitely.
Nice.
Cool.
Now, there's a combination. So the things we can do with the arenas, some are. I don't think we have. Do we have 10 unique arenas? So, in addition to the arenas, we can then just reskin the rings to make it a different theme and the banners, and change the color palette on the crowd to make some a little darker, some a little lighter. But outside of doing so that's how I'm getting over the 10. So I don't want to exaggerate it, but we do have distinct. I think we're at 8 distinct arenas right now.
Cool.
That's enough right there.
And then we have. Then we're going to have the additional rings that you'll be able to do as well.
Nice. Does the Outbreak game still feature in the game?
Yeah, the Outbreak arena
I got to talk. It's still in our development build.
Oh, cool.
So I don't have paperwork for that, and so I got to. If I can get the paperwork, it'll definitely stay in there.
Nice.
Cool.
I mean, hey, it's already made.
Yeah. Yes, that's fun. I like how you guys are doing that, where you'd go to a show and you'd kind of have this arena made for them. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
And the NWA Power Arena. That
arena. I don't think
amazing.
It's going to be tough for me not to pick anything but that one.
Yeah.
The booths over there, where they do the interviews.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. So one of the things we probably won't be able to do at launch, but we will do at some point, is more interaction with the stuff on the outside.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Okay.
So I want to add that at some point, but it's on our list. I just don't know if we'll get to it before launch. It's gotta. We don't want to be Duke Nukem forever. I would say we're definitely behind. Yeah, we're behind, but we're not super far behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we don't, with the recent events of 2K, we don't want to.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to bash them, because they have a lot of different things to deal with that we do. But we want to learn from their mistakes. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, So we don't want to rush it out, but at the same token, I don't want to be Duke Nukem forever and just take forever.
Yeah,
you know?
and then it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have a quarter you're looking for this year that's going to
well,
come out?
we're still trying to get it done the first quarter, but you know,
take your time.
I think we have a ways to go. So right now, our gameplay I feel good about. I think the game itself and all the gameplay will definitely be done by the first quarter, but the art is taking longer than I thought.
Yeah.
So just to give you guys an idea, we have about over 1,000 sprites for every character that need to be created.
Yeah, because they have like all their animation of running and doing every single move.
Right.
And then the taunt.
So we're probably like 95% done all the animation work. And then we have a lot of the next step is on top of the animation. We have 4 different body types that we did the animations in.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like a tech looking wrestler, then a strong, then like kind of a little bit heavier, like a Colt or Tommy Dreamer.
Okay.
And then you got like the meanie style character that's a little bit on the heavier side, right? So now we're in the process of coloring all those animations to actually turn them into the actual wrestlers. Cool. And not every wrestler gets every animation, at least not yet. That's another thing I want to do at some point, is allow the end users to be able to swap out moves and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, it's like still finishers or something.
Will there be other costumes for wrestlers? So if you have like Morrison, for example, like he has
different color
like
tights,
purple pants and black.
So the color swaps, we designed everything so we can easily do like palette swap.
Okay,
cool.
So you can you'll be able to change colors, and then hopefully we'll add some additional like ring attire stuff that they just wear during the ring that we can change. Mm-hmm. And we want to add, I'll tell you, we have a laundry list, like I said, of stuff that's on our list to add. So we have to prioritize it. And once we get to a point where the game is like fun, and the stuff, because there's a lot of like kind of icing on the cake type of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And that stuff may get pushed to post go live, but it'll be free. That kind of stuff will just be free DLC. We'll probably have a mixture of paid and free DLC.
You can't beat free DLC.
Right.
Listen, anything you put out, man, I'm supporting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, so that's the big thing too. I do follow the page a lot, and I see the comment sections and stuff, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'll pass on this."
Yeah, because of the graphic, but they don't get it.
And I'm just like, listen, man, like if you're gonna pass because it only has 15 or they only announced 11 people on this roster, you're hearing it here now. Like this is something they're gonna work on for a long time.
Yeah.
Like this is the beginning. This is the base. You know what I mean? Like, I'm excited what this is going to be in 2-3 years.
There's some people that are like, well, this doesn't look like 2K, whatever. And I was like, well, it's not supposed to.
Yeah.
It's supposed to look old-fashioned.
If you
like,
want
that's
that,
the gimmick.
You go to 2K.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, once they had the bugs worked out, it'd still be a good game. Like, I like the 2K games. Even notwithstanding the issues they had, but I think it's a great game series. I just think there's room for a 2D game like ours.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Fire Pro has that kind of simulation style game.
Definitely.
Ours is a faster paced arcade style game, and I just think we want. I like Fire Pro too. Like I'm a wrestling game fan. Period. I liked WrestleFest in that older 2D arcade style game, and no one was making one. So I was like, I'll do it myself.
And they're there you go. And they're much easier to learn and get into. Fire Pro, like you guys sit down for a couple hours before you understand how to win a match.
And then you have the AEW guys, the Elite, looking to make like a possibly like an N64 style game.
Yeah.
There
you go.
Where it's like a 3D model, but not super 3D. So
yeah.
So I'm really, really pumped. Now, the last question I have, and I'll see if anyone on the team has any here. Being from Philly and an ECW guy, where the crowd is very important when it comes to an ECW crowd. Is there different crowd chants that we can expect?
We're working on that. So
this is awesome chants.
At first, and it's apparently a little harder to do than I thought.
Are you licensing John the Hat Guy?
Hey, he was my manager for a little bit. How do you know?
Yeah, so we're working on it. There's a couple different ways the sound guy said we can try to do it. So it'll make it like I want that stuff in there. Like I want, how. Sometimes at a Zack Sabre Jr. match, they'll start chanting like the Seven Nation Army. Yeah. It's like I want that kind of stuff.
That'd be awesome.
I want, holy shit. Although we'll probably have to bleep that out. Holy crap, maybe we'll do. I don't know.
There you go.
I don't know how that'll affect our rating.
Yeah.
But Fight Forever, maybe you put that in there.
That'd be sweet. Any of them, because I don't know of any. Is there any of the WWE ones have chants? I don't think so.
No.
They used to have them like Attitude, like the old Acclaim ones that would have
Oh,
them
yeah,
when you would
like
get your
Austin,
special.
Austin,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was even thinking when you were talking about the close calls and everything at the very end, just like how people will chant 2 now. when it's that
2.
That 2 count.
You know what I always liked? A lot of the Japanese games had, instead of like a ref on the screen, he would come up like on the corner and be like 1, 2.
Oh, yeah, where he's not physically in the ring.
Yeah.
He's not in the way. You guys have any questions before we wrap up here?
Speaking of refs, any like licensed referees like Tommy Young? Oh, okay.
2 referees. One from NWA, right?
No, one from House of Hardcore.
House of Hardcore. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say House of Glory, but
Ryan,
House of Glory. Yeah.
And then Pat does a lot of indie stuff around on the area.
Cool.
So we just thought that was fitting. He was a good fit when we decided to do Indie Mania. And we may look to add a couple. Refs are fairly easy to add to the game, but it's just a nice little variety.
Mm-hmm.
There's any kind of thing we can add to the game, we want to do it.
How about speaking of WrestleFest, and even before that, Superstars, the little rings that would come out. I always love those things.
Yeah, they ride the ring like WrestleMania.
Yeah, the WrestleMania ring.
Yeah, they might show up.
Sweet.
Oh my god.
I always like that, and then the lasers and the smoke. I was like
the lasers and the
yeah,
smoke.
that was so awesome.
But I think of lasers. I think Saturday Night Slam Masters for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're super excited, Mike. I'm telling you, you have us. Actually, we kind of talked about it off camera. If this is something we can't bring up now, we're also 2 of our guys on the shows are really big fans of like the what are they? The Level Up.
Oh, limited runs and
stuff.
Limited.
Yep.
So we're talking about possibly getting a physical release of this game.
Physical release,
after the downloadable one is out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're definitely exploring the options that we have.
That's awesome.
So,
I'll definitely buy
We've been
one.
in contact with a couple companies. We'll see as long as we can get the it's expensive to produce a game.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as we can make that work, though, I think it's something. I would like to have a physical copy of this. I'll be honest with you. I think it'd be cool to have making it. So
especially
it's definitely something we'll look at. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, listen, you have our support here. If there's anything you need, I know we're small. We're not big time. Like we only have a small crowd.
Up,
but
man. I'm small too.
Yeah, but if like I said, if Tornado Tag podcast matches, whatever you need, we're here for you.
Right. I appreciate that, guys.
And listen, we're super excited. We're definitely, like I said, we're all gonna be buying it. Everyone here is listening. Just definitely go check out the page.
Yeah,
support this.
You can plug it. What's your how do people check out the game?
Yeah, if you just go to RetroManiaWrestling.com, that has all our links, but it's at Retrosoft Studios or Studios on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. We're really looking forward to it. Once again, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate you calling back in.
No, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah. I'm glad to do it.
Have a great night, man.
Take care, Mike.
You too.
Well, that was pretty good. Right?
That was awesome.
I cannot wait for that game.
Yeah.
That is going to be so much fun.
I want the Strictly Limited one. Ben will buy it too.
Yeah.
I want this, and then see what comes with it. Like
Dude, I'm pumped. And that's a cool thing, man. Like how he's saying that this game is going to be something that's going to be added upon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
have free DLC.
Yeah. One of my favorite 16-bit era games was Mutant League Football. And it was an EA game, but it was football. It was the Madden engine, but they had like monsters and skeletons, and you could blow people up and stuff.
Yeah.
And they came out a couple of years back with Mutant Football League, same developer. They don't have EA's blessing anymore, but it started off smaller. They added like a dynasty mode. They added DLC teams, DLC like it started. You would just have like humans and skeletons and monsters, and now you have trolls and different other robots, and they just kept building on the game and building on the game. And
That's
it's
cool.
Just like
I definitely see that being a thing here. Like I can see like a women's pack where all women wrestlers.
Yeah, probably Allison Kay, maybe.
Yeah, NWA. Thunder Rosa.
Cyber, did you ever know the Mutant League basketball that was only on the Sega channel?
No, I had the Sega channel. I didn't
really.
I played Mutant League Hockey.
Yeah, I know that. Oh, hockey was.
That Mutant League Hockey I played.
That was only on the Sega channel, right?
I think there was a physical release too.
I forget there was that. There's football?
But it was definitely on the Sega channel. Yeah, the hockey was definitely on the Sega channel.
And the shark. There's like a shark thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
the monster,
podcast.
the demon net. There was a demon goalie.
Yeah.
It was very hard to score on.
So check out Retromania Wrestling.
100% check it out. I'm so pumped for that game.
That's cool. He called in, told us about that.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
And they're going about it the smart way. Like right now, it's like Final Fantasy VII remake got pushed back a little bit.
Yeah, Cyberpunk got pushed back a couple months.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy's been getting pushed back for so
Yeah.
long. It's like, dude, you made the first game. Like, it shouldn't be.
Yeah, make it or don't.
But, yeah.
know?
So we have a
Make
lot
a good
of
6 remake, please.
we have a lot of. See, I don't want like. All right, so I'm going to say we have a lot of news or
Yeah.
topics to talk about, but we're not a breaking news place, except for maybe if Retro gave us some cool stuff that it's kind of breaking, but. We're more or less a discuss. So if this is your first time listening because you're joining us because of the Retro, thank you so much for that support and tuning in. We pretty much take stuff that's going on in the week and we kind of talk about it and discuss it.
A lot of people want to hear. They want to hear people's thoughts about wrestling.
Yeah, and that's literally
news.
We're not going to give you a full review on the show or anything like that. We do cool stuff with pro.
Oh,
sorry.
hey, the microphone.
What have you
just got
done?
attacked.
Pro wrestling.
Somebody's come in and
Pro
punched
wrestling
me.
LeGreco
score.
would never do that.
Pro wrestling scorecards. Yeah, Dave LeGreco would never. I love Dave LeGreco. Dave, if you're listening, I doubt it, but I love you to death.
And I make the difference. We do break news.
Yeah.
The main event.
Yes. So
In
yeah, we did break
Resolution
news
Rumble.
today. So PPW main event is going to be in the Rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not defending tag titles. Or maybe they are. I don't know if people are going to have a match end in the Rumble.
Who knows?
Were you guys at the last Rumble there?
Yes.
It was pretty good.
It was
liked
fun.
it. It was like
really
an
fun.
hour.
Yeah, it was fun.
I want to put on the sly one back. How long can I be in it? I don't have to win it, but I want to be in it for as long
You
as
want to be the
possible.
Iron Man.
Yeah, I love doing that.
That's always.
Well, they
to
did
me,
say they
the
did.
most important part of every Rumble is who is the Iron Man.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean. It's
My record in a Rumble is 33 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Now-
not bad.
Jersey, yeah.
They did give you a nice plug on PPW.
Yeah, how about
they
that?
said the grizzled veteran is
Yeah.
coming in and he's
PPW regular or whatever.
and this is his way to maybe see if he deserves a shot at like
yeah.
kind of pumping you up a
I
little
know.
bit.
I like that.
You know who's been
About time,
amazing
goddammit.
on the social media when it comes to these announcements? Johnny Moran. Have you been seeing it?
No.
So John,
This stuff doesn't like come up. I
Fox-
tagged him that one day and like, is that him? I was like,
Fox put, I'm going to be in the Rumble. I said, awesome. Now we have fireworks. And he writes, who cares?
John Miranda.
Johnny Moran. He wrote, who cares? And then I wrote Andy Header. And he goes, and he put the meme of the little kid doing, I don't even care.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I thought I'd be wrestling him. I mean, maybe I'll be in a match. I don't know.
Are you
Yeah.
wrestling him the night before? for
Yeah.
a
So I was
topic?
like, is that gonna be the first time ever I wrestle someone Friday night and Saturday night? Like,
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he'll be in the Rumble. I don't know.
So, yeah.
I legit didn't know I was in the Rumble.
So
until I
thank
seen
you
the
so
picture.
much for PPW for giving us that and letting us break some news anytime you want. We're there for you. So we're a fan of the promotion. But we'll jump in here to our first topic. Tessa wins Impact Championship, Heavyweight Championship. How do we feel about it?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I know she had a little problem over the weekend with the Twitter, but all that aside, I think the whole plan was to put the belt on Tessa.
Yeah,
So
it's well deserved.
I
They-
like it.
They
I
had been
don't know.
building up to this for a year.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a hell of a match though. I caught the match. Excellent match.
Yeah, it was a really good match.
storytelling.
I
Sammy
forgot I was going to
Callahan-
watch it. I totally forgot.
Sammy Callahan did his best to be despicable. He's had like snot hanging off him half
Yeah.
the match. Oh,
Did he?
it's
Be
just
gross.
awful.
Did he
I
spit on her?
have two thoughts on it. One, I already made this whole big pitch on all things wrestling. You can see my whole entire pitch. That I think they should turn her heel immediately. She already has backlash from all of her Twitter shit and all
Yeah.
that stuff. There's already the men aspect of the crowd who are always like, oh, they made a woman champion, so
Yeah.
they're gonna boo her regardless. So she's gonna get booed by the people who are mad about what she
Yeah.
said on social media. She's gonna get booed by those guys. So if she instantly turns heel and starts bashing the other females in the industry,
It makes sense. It
right
does.
away she becomes
Yeah.
top pill in the whole business.
You,
know what I
you
mean?
could turn into it, just have her get that swelled head. Like
Yeah, exactly. That
And the promo she cut afterwards was kind of like, it is what it is. I said what I said. No one's perfect. But,
Exactly.
But I'm now your champion.
Yeah.
And she is like 25. So imagine goofy shit you said when you were 25.
Dude, I was an asshole
Yeah.
when I was in my early 20s.
I'd say
Dude,
off the wall
I'm
stuff.
29 and I'm still an asshole.
Yeah,
you know how many
exactly.
people hate me online? It's crazy, man. Every single day I wake up to like 30 messages from all things wrestling, people like, you fucking loser, and all this crazy shit, you know?
Every time I send a message like, yo, you should back down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the other big news for Impact is they're banned from Twitch now.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yes.
RVD.
It's because that fantastic Raw Van Dam video.
So Twitch is super like if a girl is streaming and she's showing too much boob,
Yeah.
if she gets up and her shorts are too high up her butt,
Oh, God. Who runs it? Mennonites?
they get no because I think a lot of time
It's
a lot
supposed
of
to be for kids, which is the thing.
yeah,
Twitch is
it's supposed
to be
to
for
and a
you know.
lot of gamers were getting upset because they're like, hey man, I'm actually putting content out and some girl comes in with a
Yeah.
booby shirt and she's like.
I feel, I understand.
But on the same token, like I don't give a shit what a girl wears. Like that's not for us to tell them either. But
Yeah.
like a girl will be playing video games and she's not wearing like a bra, so her
Yeah.
nipples are showing
Yeah,
through.
and they're like,
And then
"Ooh."
people, of course, her likes are through the roof,
Yeah.
and then a guy who's
Yeah.
streaming gets upset, and
Who's like-
he so it's one of those things where like they don't want sex to sell, and then RVD goes
I
on
understand that.
and puts a promo on where he's pretty much having a threesome, which is hilarious.
His live sex celebration was 10 times better than Edge's.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it was way over the top. But real quick, back to Tessa, though. just today, Booker T on his pod. Well, I guess yesterday.
I seen that.
He gave a whole big thing about why he thinks it's the worst decision Impact ever made.
I
And he made some good points though.
He did.
About the fact that now that Tess is the world champion, it's like she should not reasonably ever lose to any woman that's on that roster ever again. Because if she's good enough to beat the men and become world champion,
If there was a woman on that roster, I'd be afraid to fight.
who's that?
Grace.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
sure.
looks like she could beat up dudes.
And
Valkyrie's pretty big too.
his other
yeah.
point was what?
They have
So then you're going to have just the women wrestling for the world title, or so she could beat all the men. That means she should better beat other women. And then when you have her finally lose, it's not as credible when the guy beats her because it's like, well, he beat a woman, so it doesn't make it feel as special for the guy.
That's
the
double-edged sword with the intergenerational.
My whole thing is, if you don't turn her heel, which I think is still the game plan, is what they should do is turn her heel immediately. I think she could have a great heel run.
That'd be fantastic.
Especially following Sammy, where he was like the evil one,
Yeah.
and she could be even more like heelish than him. It'd be blow people's minds.
You're just jealous because you want the world title. I'm a woman and I won it. Like, yeah, it writes itself.
But
it's so easy for her.
I'm trying to think far in advance how you take the belt off her, and the only way I can see it is two options.
Three-way or something?
Either a three-way where she doesn't get pinned and she doesn't get submitted, or you just have Sammy beat her again because Sammy already lost to her, so if
Yeah.
Sammy beats her, then it gives Sammy back the win.
Yeah.
Especially if you turn her heel, you could also do. They have that trophy. Eddie Edwards could do the cash in.
Yep,
That's
always
always
true.
a good way to get
Yeah.
involved off of somebody.
I say she drops it to a guy eventually.
She's going to probably drop it to a guy for sure.
And she'll defend it against the girl, maybe two in the multi-man match.
Lucha Underground did it, just people weren't paying attention. They did it with Sexy Star.
Yeah.
Sexy Star,
So there's a
Who
precedent.
also had her problems.
Yeah,
And
And
the thing,
Kimberly won it in Chikara. When
She was grand champion.
She was Kimberly. Yeah. What was her name in
Princess Kimberly.
No, in NXT.
Oh, I forget.
Abby Lath.
Yeah, Abby Lath.
She's on many shows anymore because she's a little nutty.
yeah, the thing too is people are giving Impact a lot of crap for it, but it's like nobody was paying attention to Impact anyway, so at least it put him out there.
Yeah.
I've never, dude. Impact's
It
been
doesn't
covered by
hurt
so many
Impact.
people now. You know what I mean? Like Impact's been on the news so much that they haven't been on the news in years.
And if
you
it
know?
wasn't for her Twitter stuff, I think it would be more positive for her.
Yeah, she really put her foot in her mouth.
Yeah.
Way, like
what
that
actually did she say?
Well, there was an incident with Stardom in Japan.
Well,
where-
her initial tweet was, "Hey, other women support each other. Good things happen."
Yeah, that was it.
And that's all she said.
Right, and I can actually, I think I might have
And
that
then
tweet
another
here.
wrestler said, "Coming from the girl who bullies everyone in the locker."
Yes,
Well,
a whole bunch of
But
people.
then
Yeah.
a lot of people.
Allison Kay, who was the NWA Women's Champion, she put out something saying that in Japan she called another wrestler the N-word, and then she
spit in her
on
face.
her.
Yeah.
And then Chelsea Green said, "Yeah, I remember that because they were on the same Stardom tour."
And then she
The
got
actual
bullied too
woman
by
that it happened to came out and confirmed it
I
was
think her
true.
name was Black Rose or something
Yeah,
like that.
La Negra Rosa, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. She's a wrestler from Puerto Rico. She came out and said it, and said that
What
she.
if you just said a wrestling name wrong? She was trying to say a wrestling
I
name.
don't think that's what happened.
Yeah, I always heard she had an attitude, but like I only dealt with her a little bit and worked with her, but she was very nice to me.
I've
But
heard
it was a little bit.
I
so
heard
I
just
can't
the only
say.
thing I heard when she did something local. I guess there was a miscommunication of the way the autograph signing were supposed to be, and she didn't like the way it was going down and left.
Yeah.
Like mid autograph signing, she just walked away, said "F this, I'm not doing it." But then realized,
Which
like,
we can confirm. We were there for it.
and she at the end of the show, I guess a lot of people were like, "Well, man, we really wanted to see her and do this." And at the very end of the show, she signed everyone who was willing to sit and she signed everyone's stuff for free.
So that's cool.
And took pictures. So maybe she did, like, once again, she's 25 years old. You know, I know when I was younger, I was a hothead. I wasn't very reasonable. I did things maybe out of the, and that's not justifying her saying a racial slur.
There's no justifying that.
There's no, like, and even that, I'll even say, listen, I know people who were the most racist, ignorant pieces of scum of all time when they were young, and as they get older, like that was
stupid. Yeah.
So even that, I can even, like, if you legit learn, then yes.
Yeah.
But so yeah,
I was like, how racist was she? She was dating Ricochet for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Black
and her boyfriend, her fiance now is Hispanic as well.
so
you know what I mean? So it's funny because I was listening to Jim Cornette's podcast because I just love hearing what
I
he
didn't
has to
listen
say,
to
right?
it his week.
And it was so funny because like his co-host kept telling him what it was about, and he was like, "Well, why did she call her the N-word?" And the co-host is like, "I don't know." And he's like, "Well, maybe if she was mad enough, or if she dropped her on her head, maybe that's why." It's like, Jim, it's not okay, regardless if she dropped her head or not, to call somebody the N-word. Yeah. You can't justify why she called her the N-word, dude. He's like, "Well, maybe she dropped her on her head, so you get up and you spit in her face and call her the N-word." Like, no, Jim, this is why you got fired, bro. You don't get it.
Yeah, you're just not understanding it. Anything else we want to add to that one? To the
No,
Tessa?
The only thing I will add about Tessa is apparently her attitude problem was the reason, like, behind the scenes why WWE has passed on it for so long, because they've heard about her attitude and they're like, we're good.
You would think if anybody would have gotten signed out of that first Mae Young Classic,
it would have been her.
She had an amazing match.
And we're talking about how young she is, and that's the reason why she might not. But also, look at her lineage. A lot of those third-generation wrestlers, they do think their shit doesn't stink. They're like, oh,
especially when they start.
My dad was famous, my whatever. So, of course, I would expect she has some kind of attitude starting off. So,
And there's some people that totally rubbed the wrong way back in the day, too.
Oh, my God, yeah.
I did a little bit of coke, and I just didn't go. I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see where it goes with the world title. I like it.
I'm happy for her. It happened. I mean, obviously, racial slurs are never cool, but she worked her ass off. She got it. Good for her. It was a good storyline. I enjoyed it. Marty Scurll.
Let's move on to something positive.
Marty Scurll, pretty much is taking on a new role and a new contract at ROH.
They did say head booker, but then instead just said he's on.
Then they clarified that he's just.
But the
on
day
booker.
he's on the booking committee for the first time, they announced Jay White will be in Supercard of Honor, and then Will Ospreay, and then El Phantasmo and Dragon Lee. I'm like, so someone's doing these changes. It's probably Marty, and he wants to work with in New Japan and AEW.
And he wants to, obviously the plan's already in motion to work with NWA.
Yeah, I think that's because Nick Aldis did run.
I can honestly see ROH, NWA, AEW working together, showing that how lucrative it can be for all of them.
Yeah,
and then even Impact maybe jumping in, or like a New Japan.
I don't think NWA and Impact are going to be working together.
Yeah, or not, maybe not them, but the Forbidden Door opens.
Tanahashi.
You know,
the only Forbidden Door that will never be open is WWE will never care.
No,
they could all join together, and WWE still be like, we're not working with none of you. Good luck.
Which is a shame.
But it's okay because
it's okay.
They're so big that they
they don't need it. It's like if the Yankees want. It's like with the Yankees want to. If everybody in the major leagues are like, oh, we're all going to join together to play a softball game, the Yankees be like, okay, fuck off.
Yeah. How much of this you think is Marty's like, hey guys, I really want to come to AEW, and they're like, we do too, Marty, and he's like, they just gave me part of the company at head booker.
And apparently it's 40 dates for WWE level money. So
and that's the big news is that it's WWE main roster money. They say this is the most money they've ever paid anybody to stay in Ring of Honor is they're paying Marty.
And they've outbid people before. Like they outbid for Bandito, they outbid for a couple people. So they're throwing real money at him.
So and then the Bucks are like, do it and let's work together.
And that way you can wrestle here and we can wrestle there.
That definitely could be it. I think honestly, Marty was dead set on leaving. I think he had the plan to already go to NWA, and I think Ring of Honor knew, like, listen, this is really the only like star we have, and they're like, Marty, what do we have to do to keep you? And Marty's like, well, I want WWE money because they're going to give me WWE will give me a contract. So you want me to stay? Give me their money.
And he's probably thinking they're not going to give it to me, and if they do, then
exactly.
I win no matter what.
And then they're like, okay, well, here's the money, and he's like, okay, and I'd like to be in the booking committee. And they're like, sure, done. And he's like, okay, cool, I'll sign this on, you know? You can't turn that down, shit.
But that Supercard of Honor is looking great already. They got 4 people from New Japan. I think after a while, the final person will be a big New Japan
The fun
guy.
part about this is people who are good people are taking over wrestling.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much the main roster, WWE stuff, but like obviously AEW has a money guy. But the guys who are calling a lot of shots and have a lot of pull are also guys who are very open to collaboration and very open to working with other people.
Yeah.
And then that's
now... It's not just their way or the highway.
Yeah, and that's now a thing in ROH, and that's now a thing in NWA. And you know what I mean? Like,
man, ROH was at the fucking bottom, and now it's just...
We literally said they were the biggest disappointment of last year.
A lot of other podcasts said that, too.
And now it's like, here we go.
There's a glimmer of hope. Well, Marty's in charge, but they announced them New Japan guys like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I hope they can keep it up.
And then, and Nick Aldis comes out and just running at the show and beats up
that's one
Marty
thing
and somebody else.
That's the only thing that's driving me crazy is that, did you guys see that at the next NWA pay-per-view, Nick Aldis is going to defend the belt against Flip Gordon?
Really?
Like, what? Why not Marty? Marty's the one who came there first.
They might be building to that.
Yeah, they're advertising him on...
one of the
Power,
tape.
Not next week, the week after.
And that's where you're saying New Japan talent is going to be on Supercard of Honor.
Yeah, which is the show they run around WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But not the different city, obviously.
Yeah.
So, but there was no New Japan since the Garden show because the Enzo Cass thing pissed them off. But, and other things, too. So, I don't know. Hopefully it changes ROH.
I actually seen a video today of Tonga put a video out, and he says, whatever you want to do, Enzo, you want a wrestling match, you want a boxing match, you want to shoot fight. He goes, I'll do it. Whatever promotion wants to do it. The only way I'm doing it, though, is every cent of it goes to the fan voted charity. So I'd watch him box for.
Oh shit, I would love to watch him fight.
Honestly,
I'd watch it for 2 reasons. One, because I feel like there's so many people that don't give Enzo a shot at all, and I really do think Enzo can hold his own in a real fight.
Yeah,
because the only thing I give Enzo credit for is he doesn't seem like he's scared of anyone.
No, he's
like
not.
he's so dumb that he's like, I'll fight you, sure. Like I think he'd fight Big Show if Big Show's like, he'd be like, all right.
Yeah,
like,
he just gets knocked out.
Yeah, he would try, but he'd give it a go. So I respect it.
I think he would do really well in the NWA.
I do too.
Enzo would do good anyway, and that's why I can't believe that he's still not signed somewhere. He would do great.
Enzo and Cass as a heel team in NWA would be
fantastic.
And
then you get walking there, then just wrestle a little bit. Because a couple guys suck at NWA, but they're entertaining.
Yeah, if Enzo had a dime for every time he got knocked down and didn't get back up, you know what he'd have? 0 dimes.
0 dimes.
0 dimes.
Except for that time when the rope took him out.
10 cents.
He got back up. He got
in the hospital. He definitely got back up eventually.
He was there a couple weeks later.
Yep.
Now the thing that Tama Tonga should do is like, okay, you're gonna fight my dad now.
No, I would fight Ming today.
But see, that's another thing too. Is everyone assumes because his dad is Ming that he's so tough? It's like, listen, toughness isn't hereditary. all the time, you know what I mean?
Ming might be tough. He might be a pushover.
Unless you're Stu Hart and you're like torturing your kids to be tough. You know, like I don't know if Ming did that or not. He might have.
He was like Joe Jackson, except in a fucking.
Instead of singing, he just was like, I'm gonna stretch it till you know how to do a sharpshooter. God damn it!
Let me see your arm there. Pull that there.
So we covered ROH partnership with AW.
I'm excited for ROH.
We got the New Japan Supercard there. We did the RVD. We'll switch gears here and go to AEW. So we had Bash at the Beach this week.
Yeah, which they may be getting sued over. They're saying the Young Bucks apparently came out and said something about maybe there's legal action being taken.
Really?
WWE.
I thought they got the rights to Bash at the Beach.
WWE is trying to challenge it, saying it's too similar to Great American Bash, which they still own. Which if there's a court fight, they might lose that.
Yeah, they're going to lose that. But that's the thing. That's what big companies do because they're drag it out in court and make you spend so much money that you're just like, whatever. You know what I mean? But with Con will just be like, all right, let's keep going. I'll go. You know, whatever.
Well, the big news too is obviously the new TV deal.
Yeah.
Not new. They're extending their deal with Warner Media
until 2023.
Through 2023, there's an option. TNT Warner Media Turner has an option for 2024 at a big raise. They think it's something like it's going to wind up being about $47 million a year. They're getting paid. They're going to be profitable. Everybody's like, okay, they're gonna throw money at it.
It has to be one of TNT's highest rated shows.
Yeah.
For sure.
Come on.
Yeah.
Because when they first got signed, all TNT wanted was at least 700,000 viewers an episode. They hit that, they were thrilled.
Yeah.
And they're getting 900,000 every single. So like, Jesus Christ, they're happy.
And TV's all about the demos, and 18 to 49 especially. 18 to 49 is gospel in TV, and they do really well with that. They are actually closer to Raw than NXT with 18 to 49. I think this last one they did like a 5. Raw does about a 7. NXT does in the mid-2s.
I just don't think the only thing I don't like about the deal is a second TV show. I just don't think it's necessary. It's too soon.
No,
it's way too
unless
soon.
it's some type of like Saturday morning thing.
Now they're saying it is going to be
like
dark.
AW Dark.
It is going to be dark.
Okay.
Oh, well, that's okay.
If they're just putting dark on TV, then fine.
Yeah.
They might retool it. They might put like bigger matches on it, but it's going to be.
I've seen some people say maybe Taz would be like the commentator for
Yeah,
Dark.
because
and
he did sign a deal.
What I would like with Dark though is I would like for them to then build up more characters on Dark that you don't see every week.
Yeah, that's what they normally do.
Like your Sunny
That's what
Kisses.
they do,
Yeah, that's what they do. That's what Dark's all about. Yeah.
Like they've been doing a whole thing on Dark now where Sean Spears has a new tag team partner every week. And
they're trying to find.
Yeah, they're trying to find Sean Spears. Yeah, which I wonder at the end of the day who they're gonna pick to.
I don't know. Bring somebody in.
Probably.
Put the Revival with them, and they get one other guy, and they're Tully's 4 Horsemen.
Oh, that would be cool. That'd be super dope.
What anything really catch your eye this week on AEW? The main thing
I love the arena. The Bash at the Beach look looks so cool.
It looks cool.
The Miami Vice look, it was awesome. I
and
loved
Cody
it.
with the white suit.
Yeah,
I missed
so
the first
sick.
match. I heard the first match.
I missed the last match. I fell asleep.
I thought both shows were so much fun.
They were both really good shows.
I enjoyed AEW a little bit more this week just because the first match was excellent. That was such a great match, and the main event was great.
And DDP diving from the top to the outside when he's 63.
It's so funny when, you know how like when a company starts, like AJ Styles, for example, he was like an Impact guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he was a homegrown talent. For me, the AEW Impact guy that I love the most, like homegrown, is Darby Allin.
Yeah.
Like, I think he is so freaking good. Like he reminds me of Jeff Hardy. Like he's this other entity where he just gets over with the crowd. He's willing to kill himself.
Yeah,
like,
he gets powerbombed in the thing and fucked up his arm.
Yeah,
he's so great. And that's saying a lot because like MJF, they're right neck and neck. Like I think MJF could be world champion. I think Darby could be champion.
My guy is the sexiest man in wrestling.
Shawn Michaels?
No.
Joey Ryan.
Sammy Guevara, he's a stud. Guy's a stud.
Listen, Sammy really impressed me. His match with Jon Moxley was great.
Yeah,
he did like this springboard cutter, and like it was crazy how it took him no effort at all.
Yeah, it was like
it was so. I was like, holy shit!
Or when he did the face plant, like kind of like the Miz's Skull Crush, and he sold it with a flip.
Yeah, that was sick. He's very talented.
Yeah. It's just his haircut.
And it's funny. I found out about him way before AEW because he was doing PWG matches, and then like they advertised that he does his own YouTube show. So I started watching that, and I was like, I don't know who the fuck this kid is, so I'm not gonna keep watching his YouTube show.
Here's the thing.
But he was a good wrestler.
The thing with Sammy, man, is even in his first press conference with AEW, he came out with an attitude like, I'm the fucking shit.
But you have to be. Yeah.
And everyone's like, who is this guy think he is? And every single week, everyone's like, who does he think? And now people are like, that's who he is. He's been selling it, man.
I think he's benefited more than anybody from being around Jericho.
Oh, for sure.
But he's also taken that ball and run with it.
It was funny because when they first like introduced Inner Circle, he was my first complaint where I was like, this shouldn't be Jericho's like protege, but I was totally wrong.
Same here.
There's nobody better that they could pick in that role. Like, he's great.
And that's Jericho's genius, man. He's like, I see this kid and I like him.
They were gonna do Lucha Bros instead of LAX, and Jericho's like, no, I don't want I want LAX. I want two thugs. I don't want two superheroes. You know what I mean? So like Jericho gets it, man. He's just so freaking smart. He gets business inside and out.
And now next week is gonna be Bash on the beach.
Because it's the cruise. It's the cruise. So it will be the first taped AEW because they obviously can't do it live from the cruise because it might cut out or something.
Yeah. No,
I'm so curious to see what that will look like. It'll probably look awesome.
And some good matches. You have SCU versus Hangman Page and Kenny for the tag titles, and then you got Moxley versus Pac, and the winner is going to face Jericho for the title at the next pay-per-view. So some great matches.
And then there's that 6-man too.
That 6-man, the Jungle Express versus Jericho and
LAX.
LAX. Yep.
So I did have a complaint with the Dark Order, but then they did that promo this week that I kind of was like, who's the guy pulling the strings here again?
It's so like it seems like it's Matt Hardy for sure.
Yeah, I think like and Matt Hardy's like totally silent, nothing for Adam.
And I just wonder like if Matt Hardy,
it's like a month away.
If Matt Hardy does pull the Ultra True where he does resign, I wonder what their backup plan is.
Yeah, they have that.
Now it's not Marty.
Now it's not Marty. So
that would make no sense, Marty.
And it can't be this, but so it's
like.
It kind of sounds like Raven. It's like,
God!
But listen, if it was Raven, I would mark the fuck out, dude. If it was Raven, old fat Raven, I would be like, dude, yes, fucking Raven, dude. I love Raven so much. He was when I was a kid.
Would you watch Raven DDP again in the ring? Right now,
God.
Yes.
Right now, I probably
yes.
So would I,
dude. Because Raven DDP in WCW was probably one of my favorite feuds ever. Dude, the triple threat with Chris Benoit. You ever see that match?
No.
Chris Benoit, DDP, and Raven.
Dude,
amazing. Yes, hardcore. Dude, they beat the shit out of each other.
Raven was a real good wrestler.
He was great.
He was one of my favorites.
And the promos were good.
Raven and DDP are the ones who made me watch WCW for the limited time I did.
Raven was the man. Raven's flock was awesome.
I'm probably one of the few people that can say this. One of my favorite Raven matches I've ever seen was when he was Johnny Polo. It was at the Philadelphia Spectrum, and it was supposed to be the Steiners against the Quebecers, but Pierre, PCO, was it was when he got hurt.
Yeah.
They took him out of the Survivor Series match, and they were selling him being hurt, so it wound up being the Steiners against Jacques Rougeau and Johnny Polo.
He's the manager.
They had a great match.
Wow.
They had an amazing match.
And now we'll shift over to NXT.
So my thing about
I'm sorry.
Hulu edits down NXT.
Yeah.
50 minutes.
Yep.
2-hour show to 50 minutes. I understand taking commercials, then you're an hour and a half.
So
why are they editing it down?
So what happened to me is I just been fucking exhausted, and yesterday's interview had to postpone.
Okay.
So
you got a little break.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna sit and watch wrestling tonight. I literally sat in the couch.
No, you fall asleep.
Done.
That sucks.
And I woke up. It was 1:30 in the morning, and I couldn't fall back to sleep. So I'm like, I'm up. I'm gonna watch wrestling. So I start watching NXT. I get all the way to the end, last two of the Battle Royal, and it turns off.
Damn,
they didn't do like an extension.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't tape the overlay.
So you have to set your DVR to record
to
15 minutes later.
But it's not a DVR. It's the Hulu.
Oh, really?
Live TV.
Wow.
So Hulu just says, I watch 15 minutes of Law and Order before my Raw starts, but I can't watch 15 minutes of the next show.
You have to start recording the show after.
No, but Hulu automatically cuts it off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Hulu cut it off. Yeah,
because it just tapes the show. So if in their computer it says it ends at 10:02 even.
Yeah,
that's
I can't adjust
10:02. Yeah.
So I was like, well, that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So I didn't see the end of the Battle Royal, which we'll get into in a little bit.
And that first match, they went to commercial and they come back and they're like chanting, "This is awesome!" Like, wait a minute.
Some interesting.
That's only 30 seconds, right? 60 seconds. What happened? So they edited out 2 more minutes after the commercial to shorten the match. Like, why are you shortening the matches? Make it all just matches. I don't care if
it was stupid.
Yeah.
There's a lot of video.
So I gotta watch. Yeah, I gotta watch it on the network because that first match looked like it was awesome, but I'm sure it wasn't 4 minutes.
There wasn't a bad match.
What was the first match of NXT?
Matt Riddle and
oh yeah, that was a good match.
Yeah,
that was a good match.
A lot of tag team wrestling this week. A lot of tag team.
Roserweights.
Yeah.
I knew they were going to win and they were going to get a push when I saw they had matching outfits.
Yeah. And then the time splitters losing. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either. But that's
just, that's
strictly just because Alex Shelley only signed on for a 1 deal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They maybe doesn't want to be there
because he's already doing a Ring of Honor event this.
Oh, really?
He's fantastic.
He put him with Chris Sabin.
He's fantastic.
Well, Alex Shelley's great.
Alex Shelley still looks really good.
I'll tell you what though. This may be kind of tied into our PPW announcement. How awesome to be see Grizzled Young Vets versus main event.
There you go.
I
like what? You
know not Grizzled Young Vets. The tag team.
I like the Welsh guys.
Flash Morgan Webster and
yes.
I like the guy who is the Mod Squad guy. What is
Flash Morgan Webster.
What does it say in the back of his jacket? It said like, "Believe in Mod we trust." I'm like, I like this.
Yeah,
guy.
the guys who wrestled the bro.
Yeah,
Bruiser
I like
bro,
those guys.
They were a great tag team.
Yeah, they're great. But the Grizzled Young Veterans, the heel team from
they're cool too.
Dude, they're awesome. They were Progress tag team champions for like a year straight, and like they are a great tag team. I hope they move full time to NXT because they've already been the NXT UK champions. They can't be there forever.
NXT,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to see them because here's what my prediction would be. Probably, I'm assuming that they're not going to have Imperium versus Undisputed Era be the final because they're already going to wrestle each other at this Worlds Collide.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they're going to screw each other out of the thing. So it'll probably be the Young Grizzled Vets versus Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne in the final.
Yeah.
And that match is going to freaking blow the roof out of the place. And I'm hoping Grizzled Young Vets win, and that's like their introduction.
I think they win it all.
And then there'll be an NXT.
Yeah,
you know
NXT
well, here's the thing: we're talking about the Worlds Collide thing, and they're like, "Well, you're on the boat where you're not a big fan of it." I tuned into UK NXT for a week or two. And I was like, I'm done. This is not for me. Everyone looks the same.
Yeah.
And then I don't watch it for almost a year or how long it's been on. And now I see this Worlds Collide and I see this Imperium. I see these Girl Young Vet. I see these other tag teams. And I'm like, if they got that good, I might tune back over.
But it's like WWE doesn't even advertise it.
I watched a lot of the Takeover. It was really good.
Like if they don't even care about promoting, why should I care? Like, on NXT, you should be like, make sure you watch NXT UK this week because blah 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 happens.
And it seemed like that's what they're gonna try. They're gonna start doing because even in the commentary, they're like, which I think the commentary works better with just 2 people. That's just me.
I agree. Yeah, I see
I
2
always
people all
like
the time.
a 2-person booth.
But they were just like, man, they really stole the show this weekend. NXT UK pay-per-view was awesome. Like, so I was like, oh, maybe I did miss something here. I should go back.
It was good.
Even a 20-second highlight package.
Yeah.
On Raw and SmackDown. Why can't you do that? It's your company.
Yeah. Like I was saying, my issue isn't that it's NXT versus NXT UK and stuff like that. That's fine. But they could have literally had this whole entire thing be on an episode of NXT, and that alone would draw ratings. If you're like, hey, next week it's going to be NXT versus UK. Here's the matches, the same matches they're going to have for the event, and they still could have had a takeover and still went to the Rumble.
Yeah.
To me, I like the big 4 pay-per-views, the Rumble, Mania, Survivor. I like there to be a takeover right before it because that's the way it's been for years. And the takeover is always better.
The reason they're not doing it, they're trying to counter-program AEW pay-per-views.
I know, but you could still do a takeover and still have another pay-per-view in February.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And I think with the major ones now, you're going to see incorporations of NXT talent on those pay-per-views. So like Mania is going to have the NXT championship.
There'll be matches, Except they said that there's not going to be NXT. You know how they were going to do 10-10-10? They're not doing that now.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they're not doing that now. It's just Raw and SmackDown with a couple NXT guys.
Because there's already 13 people announced for it, and like I'm not even like why
so they scrapped the whole 10-10-10?
Yep.
Yeah, they're not doing that.
WWE changed their mind on something.
Yep.
Can't believe
Ain't
it.
that stupid?
That's fucking dumb.
So
it's probably the
one
same
or
reason
2
why because
Keith Lee
people were complaining
Cole.
that there would be no surprises then, there'd be no legends and blah 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 blah. So, but like. For example,
cool. We're gonna get a bunch of fucking nonsense like Mojo Rawley.
But that's exactly my point.
Yeah.
So already announced for the Royal Rumble is Otis and his tag team partner.
Yeah.
Why are 2 tag team wrestlers in the Royal Rumble?
I can get Otis because you're gonna have that comedy spot, but you don't need Tucker Knight.
Tucker's just a waste of a spot.
Is,
I hate when there's a waste of a spot. Like every year when Titus O'Neil's in every year.
Yeah, you're
we know Titus isn't gonna win. Why is he taking a spot? Why is Zack Ryder taking a spot? Like it just
at least get believable people.
You know what I mean? It's taking a spot of somebody that could be from NXT, that could be a surprise. You know what I mean? I never understood it.
Yeah, it doesn't benefit them in the long run at all.
Now the big thing for me was the NXT. Obviously, the both tag team matches were fantastic.
The Battle Royal.
The Battle Royal.
I thought Shotzi Blackheart looked awesome.
Yeah,
she looks really cool and like she stands out. And then when she came back in, she tried to.
Oh, before we get to the Battle Royal, though, do you guys see the Cruiserweight Triple Threat match?
No, they edited that one out.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Great match. And dude, it was so funny, though, because I finally was like, okay, I'm starting to see what Brian's talking about here. Mario twice, back-to-back, completely got Leo Rush and Swerve completely wrong, right?
So I was behind you guys. So I read the chat, and then when I was watching it, I was listening.
You seen?
I did, but I think that Morrow was so thrown off by Angel Garza talking in Spanish, and I think it ruined his flow. I think.
Was Angel doing commentary? Maybe, yeah.
But Garza, when he did commentary, was so unsupportive to the commentary booth. They'd be like, "So what do you think, Garza?" And he would rattle something off in Spanish, and they'd be like, "What?" And
it was a bad idea to have him talk.
And then like, when he finally did talk, he's like, "What? You don't like that? You don't like that?" And he
that comes off as a heel, isn't it?
Yeah, he's been a heel.
He was heel. He was heel, but it was so awkward. And even
I thought he was a face.
It's like weird. He's like a tweener.
But I honestly think Morrow didn't know how to handle it because he seems so uncomfortable.
I think it was just a simple slip up because Swerve takes out Tyler Breeze, and he's like, "Oh, Leo Rush just," and then Swerve took out Leo, and like he just got the names completely wrong. Like he back to back, he just said the wrong name.
Fantastic
so
match. Fantastic.
Yeah,
match.
I edited it out. Yeah. So I have to watch that. Not anymore. I'm just watching the net. I'll wait and watch the net.
Well, you have my login, right?
Yeah. For
just
that.
Watch
for
the DVR,
and that goes at the same time as unedited Hulu, right?
Yeah,
I assume.
Yeah,
like that's so dumb. I'd like to look up and see why do they edit them down.
But that's actually going to be a good match. So, like, as much as I would rather them just put this on a regular episode of NXT, which I still think would be the way to go. Some of the matches are great. I mean, there's going to be Garza, Swerve, and two guys from UK in a fatal 4-way for the Cruiserweight title. Which, like, if somebody from UK wins, are they just going to go with NXT now? Like, that'd be cool.
And I heard they're actually talking about switching the name to the NXT UK championship instead of the WWE United Kingdom.
That makes sense.
That would make sense. Yeah. Then we also got the match I'm most excited for. We got DIY versus Mustache Mountain. That match is going to be fantastic, dude. That match alone,
is that at the World Collide thing?
Yeah,
that should just be a weekly NXT show.
Yeah.
There you go,
dude. If you had that match plus Imperium versus Undisputed Era's main event, that would be ratings galore. People would love to watch
Tony, who won the women's title?
Kaylee Ray won, but Tony Storm's wrestling Rhea at Worlds Collide.
Yeah.
And she's defending her title against her.
But Kaylee Ray won the
It's
match
the only title on the line is going to be Rhea defending the belt against Tony Storm.
To get
and the Cruiserweight title.
Okay, I was listening to one podcast, and one guy's like, you know what match I want to see? I want to see Tony Storm versus Bayley in a Come As You Are wearing tight jeans street fight. There's like going to be a lot of cake in that match. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of cake in that match.
Anyway. I liked the battle. I thought it was good. There's a lot of people in there I didn't know, though. The little luchador girl. I was like, who was that?
She was Catalina.
She came out with
who was
Sin Cara.
She was Sin Cara's manager on Raw.
I didn't see that. And who was the black girl that had half blonde hair?
No idea.
I forget her name. She's been.
I was like, who is that?
They probably edit her matches out of NXT a lot. She's lost to I think she lost to Aaliyah or something.
Okay, I mean she looked good, and then Deanna Purrazzo. I was like, that's Deanna Purrazzo.
Yeah,
because she looks a little bit different.
What's her name came back?
Casey Catanzaro came
back.
Yeah,
I seen her, and then I was like, who's that?
She's like teamed up with the black girl with the contacts and the braids.
Oh, Lacey Lane was her name.
Like Ember Moon.
She changed her name. I think she looks great. She looks phenomenal.
There were just a couple things with the Battle Royal I didn't like psychologically.
Some people look lost. Tegan Knox looked lost.
And not only that, but like for example, right, like when Shayna was the last person in the match, right? Like the whole match stopped and everyone's like, oh shit, Shayna's in the match. So then she gets in the ring. So you would think if everybody in the match was like intimidated because it's Shayna Blazer, they would all swarm and attack her.
Yeah.
But instead, like everybody broke free and everybody started fighting. Like, well, what's going on? Why don't you all attack her?
Yeah.
You know? And then like, Mercedes, she was in the Battle Royal, which is awesome. I didn't like the spot that Shayna took her out. She should have been the one that eliminated Shayna. Right away, that would have been a huge boost for her. It could have built into another feud somewhere.
Rather than Shotzi. I mean,
Shotzi eliminated her,
Shayna's okay.
Yeah.
I think Shotzi gets it because I think she has such crowd behind her. Like, I think what we don't see that happens at NXT shows is that the crowd really, like, she was a huge pop. So I understand why they did the Mercedes Martinez thing the way they did. But, I mean, when Mercedes and Shayna just faced off.
Yeah,
it was fucking cool.
That's why I wish she would have eliminated her because I feel like there could be so much steam behind that.
She literally got the better of Shayna, and then Shayna used the classy move where she just kind of eliminated her, and it was like, all right, cool, you got this one. So they definitely built to like that's going to be a thing.
It seems like Mercedes and Mia Yim might be a thing too. Like I know we're talking about them having similar gimmicks. That might be like her first.
And I didn't know Santana Garrett had red in her hair. I'm like, oh, that's Santana.
Yeah. I didn't like the fact that Tegan Nox was in the match too because I was like, okay, so when's what's her face going to come out in an eliminator? And just like it was just a pointless spot.
And then it came down to Io and Bianca Belair, and that stare off where Bianca's like, yeah, and she turns and look, and Io just gives her the wide eye, like, ooh.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I want Io to win. I'm like,
I thought Io was going to win.
And I was like, well, I know her contract is up after Kari's, and they don't know yet, so that's probably why she's not going to win.
I'd like to see those two wrestle more, though. It'd be great for Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
She has so much potential. It's just a matter of like tapping into that natural talent she has and her getting experience. She is going to be so good.
She's one of the females on the roster that I would move up before she even got a title. I would be like,
who, you?
No.
Oh, Bianca?
Bianca.
No, I would keep her next. They haven't won a belt once.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would move her up before that.
Yeah, like Io, you could put up there tomorrow. Like Io's better. Io's probably Io and Tess are probably two best women wrestlers in the world.
Then Raw. We're not going to go too much into Raw here, but it was a good show.
Yeah,
I liked good show. A lot of good wrestling, some cool spots.
That Kevin Owens thing, that's been everywhere.
Oh, I didn't even get to see it. I heard he ran up the thing and did like
it was awesome, dude. Even Will Ospreay like tweeted about it and was like, "Holy shit!" Like, it was cool.
I gotta watch.
Yeah, there's gifs of it ever. Just he runs up that half pipe thing and does a dive.
That's cool. And then the fist fight.
David Benoit does an interview. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but I did watch a few more of his interviews. Very, very good interviewer. I'm torn, man. I'm torn. So when I first watched it and I seen the headline and it says David Benoit wants to wrestle as Chris Benoit Jr., I was like, yikes. And then I listened to it, and I have a different opinion. I was talking to Brian a little bit about it before you guys got here. He told the story, man. He was very candid. He said, it was not easy.
I can imagine.
You wake up one day and you find out your dad, kills your stepmom and your little brother.
Yeah.
And he's like, for years, it's just like, it wasn't my dad. It wasn't my dad. And we thought conspiracies. And he's like, and it wasn't a conspiracy.
Yeah, they even said they checked out Kevin Sullivan.
He's like, we checked into Kevin Sullivan. It wasn't the thing. He's like, he goes, my dad's brain was destroyed. He's like, what happened that day was not my father. It was the result of whatever the CTE,
steroids and concussion.
He even said it was not the steroids. They think it was his brain was the.
There could have been some roid rage.
Yeah, his brain was to the point of it. Like they said, he was like an 80-year-old man.
Yeah,
his brain was his brain was in rough shape. But he said, he goes, I'm his son. And I've like it tarnished my life. Like I couldn't go to school for a while. Like people on the internet still tell me your dad's a fucking piece of shit scumbag murderer.
And he's gonna deal with that forever.
And he said that's
why I don't think it's a good idea for him to come and wrestle as Chris Benoit.
Yeah,
that's already.
But this is his theory to this. He goes, regardless, if his brain injuries were that bad that it caused him to get to the point where he did something that crazy, and they have changed the sports dramatically since that day in all sports, because CTE and brain injuries are a real thing. He said, yeah, it is. He goes, if they do, yes, it is okay to talk about that, and it should be talked about, but it should be talked about as the dangers of what this sport can do, but it shouldn't tarnish of what he's done. Because in the ring, he was one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
and I get that, but you still killed your family. You still killed a child.
That's the only thing that,
And it's not like,
but it wasn't like he was a normal human
WWE's
being.
never going to touch him. They're never going to mention, his dad was, because they're never going to mention his father ever again. So
they would never hire David.
He kind of talked about it in the interview. They said, "Do you think your dad will ever be in the WWE Hall of Fame?" And he says, "I do."
0% chance.
Yeah, I say no.
0% chance it ever happens.
I don't know.
You can't even say his name. Yeah. They don't even let you search for him on the network. Yeah, never gonna happen.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not condoning what Chris Benoit did. I'm not saying he's a good person for what happened, but I
definitely I seen the reports and I remember watching all that on CNN and them talking about how his brain was of an 80-year-old man and stuff, but 80-year-old men don't kill their family. You know what I mean? It was also because of the steroids like he was on and all the drugs he was, that together.
Brain injuries can make you very, very, very violent.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, some people who experience the CTE, they literally have these blackout states where they get ultra violent and they don't know they're doing it. I have a friend who was struck by a car. He was a police officer. He was hit by a car. He should have never survived. He got fucking crushed. And for 6 months after, while his brain and stuff was healing, he said like his family hated him. Like he'd be laying in bed and they'd be like, hey, he'd be like, fuck you, you piece of shit. He'd get angry and like try to throw stuff at them and get violent. And they're like, that's part of because his brain is damaged. Yeah. He doesn't have control over those neural, and that's what they kind of feel would happen with him. They said, listen, he even said himself, like him and Nancy did have arguments, they did have fights. No, well, and what could have happened, it was just that with the way his brain was, he just lost it. Like, once again, I'm not condoning what he did, but like that's like saying, hey, I want you to do this job for your entire life, and then you do it, and then I realize the job I had you do destroyed who you are as a human being, where you did the most vile thing of all time. Yeah, I think for as much blame, I don't think WWE should take blame, but I think they should be like, hey, listen, he was great and he is a Hall of Famer, but he also did do this, and this is why we changed the sport to what it is today. I'm just saying they should meet halfway. Yeah, it's hard because
it's definitely hard, and it's hard because for sure I can understand his brain being damaged, and I can understand that making him violent, and I could only imagine, you have a fight with your wife, and in a split second you kill her. Yeah. But he killed her, and then he dragged her into a room, and he killed his son, like, 12 hours later. He, like, watched movies with him, and then he suffered. Like, he planned out this. It's not like he was still in a fit of rage when he killed his son. Yeah. That's just a fact.
Yeah, it would have been like
if he killed them both at the same time. But he planned it out because he was like, shit, I killed my wife. I'm going to kill myself. I don't want my son to be on his own. All that is why, as much as, and Chris Benoit, to me, is one of the best wrestlers ever. Yeah. I don't want him in the Hall of Fame. I don't even want to hear him on TV ever. And it'd be weird to me to see his son wrestle somewhere else.
I mean, they took Jimmy Snuka out because he killed that girl.
Did they actually take him out?
I think so. Yeah.
I thought that was always proven innocent.
No, remember at the end he died. Well, he
they decided, they were like, yeah, he probably did it, but he's dying. So
he had stomach cancer or something real bad. So it's like, but all the evidence was against, and everyone said that he did it.
And then the other thing with this too is they said that the movie was going to be made.
Yeah, I remember about that.
And he said the movie was good, but they didn't they weren't going to contact the family about what they were going to do, and they were going to do the entire murder, like the entire murder suicide. And I guess he said the police report's about 300 pages long, and it's it's not good. Yeah. And that's and kind of like, and you just brought up a great point too, like the whole thing, like he did it, and then 12 hours, like it was it's so that's why they said the movie will never be made. He goes, I would be open for a biopic, like not a biopic, but like a documentary. Yeah. But he goes, they don't really want to. They don't, like, that was the big thing. They were going to put the murder suicide, and they were like, no, we're not doing that.
And here's where I'm going to put I host a true crime podcast hat on. Yeah. I do a lot of research with that on murderers and bad people and things like that. And the one thing that's kind of a steady thing is it's almost like a running joke on Murder My Dude, where we always look at their tragic backstory. Yeah. And whether it's we talked about a guy a couple months ago. He was like the real life Dexter. He was a serial killer who killed other killers, other criminals.
He was a fucking
killer Petey,
sicko though.
And he killed somebody in prison because he didn't like their face. Yeah. He had
a stupid face.
He had childhood injuries. He came out. He was born with a dent in his head because his father beat up his mother while she was pregnant. Yeah. So I mean, if you look into somebody's backstory, whether it's abuse, whether it's some kind of physical injury. Most people who are killers, are murderers, they have some kind of thing that kind of sparked that in their life. It doesn't absolve them of what they did.
No, they became supervillains.
Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely open. There's definitely two sides of that coin, but it's definitely a good interview. Check it out. Yeah, it's super interesting.
Yeah, and that guy does a lot. That his Chris Van something. I watch
Fleet or something.
Yeah, Chris Van.
The guy that did stuff with AEW.
He does a bunch.
They said there's a fantastic interview with him and I
what
literally
do they look like?
Vampiro. Okay. Really good about
There's
him.
A bunch. He has a new one with Kurt Angle. That's great. Yeah. Kurt Angle goes into great detail about the plan was for, which was obvious, was the plan was to have him and Jason Jordan be like his last match, and then Jordan got hurt, and then he wanted to be seen it, but they're like, well, you're already doing the feud with Corbin, so we're not gonna Vince gave it to him straight. Vince said, listen, if you want to wrestle for another year, then next year you can have your retirement against Cena, but if you want to retire this year, then it's against Corbin. We're not gonna take the storyline off.
I would be like, all right, let's do it in our year.
Yeah,
well,
But Kurt said that he doesn't want to keep putting himself out there because he's only at like 40%
Yeah, which I understand.
He had a hard time. And another year, just people are gonna be like, "Shit, Kurt's really bad."
He had a hard time moving around. Any other? Oh yeah, we do have one more topic.
Get my drink over.
Sad week. A lot of deaths this week. Yeah. Since the last time we did
a lot of
show.
Confusing deaths.
Yeah, over the weekend it was two guys where you said they died and you're like, no, not him, the other one. You had two guys like that, and the first one was La Parka, not the WCW Parka, not the guy that's LA Park now. The guy that died was the second La Parka, the one that was injured. He did a suicide dive through the ropes in October against Roosh, and he missed and wound up hitting the guardrail and the concrete. He was paralyzed for a while. He never really recovered, and just the toll it took on his body and his organs finally caught up with him, and he passed away.
Yeah, so real quick on that one, I just want to add on to that. So La Parka that was in WCW is La Parka.
Yes.
And then he took the rights over somewhere else. Well, another guy took over the rights.
So where was he from? Triple H or CMLL? Triple A said that
WCW could use the character.
Yes.
Yeah. What happened was the character was created by Triple A. The guy who started Triple A was Antonio Pena, and he created La Parka. And the original guy, who's now LA Park, played La Parka. And eventually, a lot of Triple A guys wound up essentially working for WCW almost full time. And La Parka was a huge draw. It started as a heel thing or a rudo thing, they call it in Mexico. But eventually it became like a kid's character. Like he would come out the Thriller, he would do his cool, like funny dance, and like the kids would dance with him and all this stuff. And they missed La Parka, so they had this other guy who was wrestling as Caris La Mommy or something like that. It was like Caris the Mummy, basically. Yeah. And they repackaged, and that was actually something that Antonio Pena had wrestled as when he was a wrestler. They repackaged him as La Parka Jr., and he was La Parka Jr. for a while. And then around 2003, La Parka was back. WCW was closed. La Parka jumped to CMLL, the other big company.
And when you do that in Mexico, then they hate you.
Yeah.
Whatever one you leave, if you leave one for the other, then that one you left hates you.
Yeah, they're like, you left us and you're not taking our name.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Antonio Pena went to court for it and wound up winning, and that's why La Parka became LA Park.
Yeah, he's LA Park.
And so they just said, La Parka Jr., you're now La Parka.
Yeah.
And he was like their number one baby face for a while, and he is the one that passed away. And actually, he was La Parka longer than the first La Parka.
Yeah. But a lot of people think that the La Parka that was in WCW was the one that passed.
Yeah. And
he was not.
He's still alive. Yeah. He wrestles for MLW here and there.
Yeah.
And then the other one over the weekend, Kazuo Sakurada died. He was better known in the United States.
How do you got it today?
I want one.
He was better known as
Kenzo?
No, not Kenzo. Kendo Nagasaki.
Kendo
stick.
Nagasaki.
And
Kendo Saki.
And the original Kendo Nagasaki was this guy Peter Thornley. He was a British wrestler, and
he get the name Kendo Nagasaki.
He wore a mask, and he said he was channeling like the spirit of a ancient Japanese samurai.
Oh, okay.
And it sounds goofy, but he was like one of the biggest stars of British wrestling in the 60s and 70s. Like him, Big Daddy, and a bunch of other guys. He was like gigantic. And what happened was Sakurada, the guy who the Kendo Nagasaki that passed away. He was the Dragon Master when they did the JTEX Corporation in WCW with like Muda and Terry Funk. Yeah. He was a sumo wrestler first, and then he started wrestling, doing professional wrestling. He worked for the old Japanese Wrestling Alliance, pre-New Japan, All Japan. He was in Stampede for like 5 years. He actually helped train Bret Hart. Wow. He was one of the main guys that helped train Bret Hart. When he was done with Stampede, Dusty Rhodes wanted to do a program with the Great Kabuki, but they couldn't really get dates on him. So they basically took this guy and they put paint on him. They had him spray the green mist. They named him Kendo Nagasaki. He wrestled there, Memphis, all over the place. I was talking with Tony before the show about Bruiser Brody. One of this guy, the guy that died, the Kendo Nagasaki that died, the Japanese version, he was actually possibly one of the reasons why Brody was murdered, because he had a match. It was him and another guy who wrestled for New Japan. And they were like a mid-card tag team in New Japan, but they were the WWC tag team champions in Puerto Rico. And they were wrestling Bruiser Brody and Stan Hansen. And Brody and Hansen at this point were the number one team in all Japan. and they noticed there were Japanese photographers there, and they're like, we are not selling for these guys. We are not going to have pictures taken of a mid-card team in the rival promotion beating us up. And that really pissed off Carlos Colon and Invader One and these other guys. So it was the other La Parka and the other Kendo Nagasaki that passed away. And then just yesterday, Rocky Johnson. Was it today? No, yesterday, I believe. Rocky Johnson.
A lot of people posting photos of them with Rocky Johnson, and every single photo, he looks like he fucking hates that he's there. He's like this. He doesn't even try. He's just like
he's like a little before my time wrestling. Like he was finishing up, and I was just like being born. So.
Yeah, I always the thing I remember him, obviously the Rock's dad. That's what most people know of him as now. I had one of those old Coliseum video best of the WWF tapes. It was like best of the WWF Volume 2, and the first match on the tape was when him and Tony Atlas. It was either when they beat Adrian Adonis and Dick Murdoch for the titles, or they lost them back to them. It was one or the other.
Yeah, and
that was the first match on the tape.
Wow.
But he was a boxer. He was Canadian. He's from Nova Scotia. He was a boxer first. I don't know if it's true or not, but they said he would spar with Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. He wound up getting in the wrestling. Legally changed his name to Rocky Johnson. His name was like Wade Bowles, I think. And and then he would do like the fancy footwork, like
it looked great.
Looked great. Big star in the territories. Him and Tony Atlas were the first black tag team to win the tag team titles in the WWF. So he had people. Oh, it's the Rock's dad, because obviously that's what people think of him now. But he had a great career in his own right.
Cool. That'll wrap it up today. Andy, you got any plugs?
Well, there was gonna be a show, but I heard they're gonna cancel because of the weather.
Yeah,
because it was up in Mayfield, and it's always worse in Scranton. So no Backbreakers show this weekend. So that we're gonna try to move the match to February, see if we can.
Cool.
8-man tag. So nothing. What's next week? What's next weekend?
Next week you have
is that PPW?
PPW and Atomic. Yes.
Yeah. So PPW. Oh yeah, that's Friday. Yeah, Friday night at Club Reverb is me versus John Red for ACW. Then I'm in the Resolution Battle Royal at PPW on Saturday. So that's in next week, 2 weeks.
Cool. And Call It in the Power Rank.
Yeah, Call It in the Power Rank. Check that out. Yeah, I was looking at it. Forgot about that. Yeah. Well, the new episode out, talking news and comics and wrestling.
Yep.
Murder My Dude. It's the same thing I plug every week, so you probably know it by now. This week we had a pretty special episode. We covered Martin Luther King Jr.
He killed people?
Yeah.
I know.
Tons of them.
And it's actually interesting just because there's so many different things about his death. His own family actually believes that there was an FBI conspiracy to
you never know back then.
Killed.
I wouldn't doubt it.
And and we get into that a lot. And next week we're going to kind of roll into that conspiracy thing. We're doing JFK.
Ooh,
nice.
JFK.
All Things Wrestling on Facebook and House of Glory and houseofglory.net. They actually just put up the entire event of House of Glory 9, which was like their 9-year anniversary.
Wow.
The whole thing's free on YouTube. You can watch all 2 hours.
Cool.
Cool.
Take that, Ric Flair.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't mean it, Flair. If you're listening,
we do have another guest call-in coming very soon. I have to look at my book. It might be next week, but I have to double check. Pro Wrestling Scorecards are going to call in.
Oh, cool.
And they're going to give us kind of the history of Pro Wrestling Scorecards and how they got about it and talk some cool stuff. So think of some cool questions. And cool. that'll do it.
We'll be doing some scorecards next week because it'll be right before the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Yep. Worlds Collide and Rumble.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they're doing one for Worlds Collide. Now, when does that come on?
Saturday.
It comes on.
Yeah.
Saturday,
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's
we're not doing an NXT takeover,
but we're gonna do. Yeah.
Well, that
was my whole point of it. It was stupid.
Yeah.
We'll be in Hazleton on that day, so we'll have to watch it another time.
Yeah, I'll watch it when I get home. The only thing exciting this weekend, man, I think because of the weather and staying in,
impending weather,
we get to watch some fights this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm so excited, dude.
Conor McGregor versus Cowboy, so I'm pretty pumped about that.
Who?
Conor McGregor.
Are you going to?
Cowboy Cerrone.
Oh, I don't know Cowboy Cerrone.
Are you getting it here?
I am not getting it here. Actually, Tanner invited me over.
Cool.
So Tanner's doing this thing he used to do it for a while where they put on SmackDown Here Comes the Pain because the Royal Rumble in it is ridiculous. Where like someone can punch somebody and they'll just fly backwards over the ropes.
Oh my god!
So it's so like literally. Like Molly Holly can go in there and win it because there's no balancing of the characters, and one person bumps into another person, they can get eliminated like over the top, no problem. Because there's like sometimes there's no struggle system.
Yeah.
So what they do is they all like everyone picks a character, and then whoever's character lasts, they put $1 in a pot, and whoever's character lasts the longest, you win that round, and they just keep betting.
A lot of people do a Royal Rumble pulls now. Like you just throw like whatever $5 in,
and you get a number.
You get a number, and if your person's number, if you have the number of the person that wins, you win the pull
or lasts the longest.
Usually, it's done with the winner.
Yeah.
What if your number doesn't win?
Then you lose.
Then you lose. Then you lose the pool.
What if no one wins?
Somebody's got to win the Rumble.
Somebody has to win.
If you don't have enough people to do a full Rumble,
then you don't do it, or people get more than one number.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's say we could do something like that. That's what I'm saying. We'll figure it out. Yeah, but that'll do it for Tonight Attack Podcast. Check out all the links below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And
Mike from Retro
Yes,
Studio.
thank you so much, Mike, for calling in. And
see you next week.
See you next week. Here's some.
Bow down.
No, wrong show.
Oh, it's wrong one.
This one is.
Oh, it's yeah.
No, Rain Checks.
Yeah. Oh man.
Bacon Boy.